Figure shows a measuring scale which is usually supplied with a geometry box. Which of the following distance cannot be measured with this scale by using it only once?
Smart pick. Zoo mother is the correct choice.
What is the length of the pencil if the initial reading is 2 cm and the final reading is 17 cm?
Good job. Your answer 15 cms works well here. 3 pieces of rope R1, R3 are placed on the scale. The longest rope is dash. Great job. PZ is the accurate answer.
Which of the following motions is aperiodic as well as oscillatory motion?
You chose only. And it is correct. What tool would you use to measure the length around this real-life object? Nice selection. Measuring tape is the correct and valid answer.
Which motion is shown by the child riding the bicycle in a straight path? Ah. You got it. Your choice both A and B is right. In the given figure, the correct measurement of the length of the pencil is.
Nice work. You chose 3 cms and it is correct.
While measuring the length of a knitting needle, the reading of the scale at one end is 4.0 cm and at the other end is 43.2 cm. What is the length of the needle?
39.2 cms is the answer. Observe the given image and estimate the diameter of the ball. You're right. 6 cm is the correct answer.
What kind of motion is executed by a pendulum of a clock?
Smart move. Oscillatory motion is an accurate answer. Name the word for an arm's length. Sharp thinking. Cubit is the right choice. While measuring the length of a wooden box, the reading at one end is 1.5 cms and the other end is 4.7 cm. What is the length of the wooden box? 3.2 cms is true.
The motion of Earth spinning around the Sun exhibits what kind of motion? Periodic, oscillatory, rotatory, circular, translational.
Perfect is the correct choice.
A football player running in a field, a cricket ball rolling down the ground, application of brakes while driving are the examples of dash.
Well picked. Non-periodic motion is the correct answer.
What is the measuring part in the image?
Good thinking. Handspan is the right answer. Motion of Earth around the Sun shows. Great thinking. All of these is the right choice. Estimate the length of the thread. Excellent choice. 13.5 cm is the right answer.
This is a mode of transport by?
Nicely done. Air is a solid answer. Measurement means the comparison of a known quantity with some unknown quantity. This known fixed quantity is Colada unit. Right again. False is a valid answer.
An object is said to be at rest if its position remains the same with respect to the stationary object in its surrounding.
On track. True is the correct answer. How long is the paper clip? Strong choice. 4 cm is the right answer. Motion of strings of a guitar shows oscillatory motion, vibratory motion, random motion, rotational motion. Clear logic. Your choice, and is sound and 100% true. Golu was traveling from Mumbai to Chennai. The suitable unit for measuring the distance traveled by him is dash. Correct response. Kilometer is the most accurate answer. 1 centimeter on a scale is divided into 10 equal divisions. The least count of this scale is. Right choice. 1 mem is the best answer.
When the body does not change with time with respect to the surroundings, the body is said to be at dash.
Well done. Rest is the right choice.
One of the following types of motion will not be exhibited by the Earth moving around the Sun. This one is
Solid response. Rectilinear motion is a valid choice.
Dash is the distance between the tip of the thumb and the tip of small finger of a fully stretched hand.
Excellent. Handspan is a brilliant choice.
Which of the following units is used to measure distance in the International System of Units?
Correct. Meter is the right answer.
A motion in which body moves about a fixed axis without changing its position is called a dash.
Exactly. Rotational motion makes sense and it is right choice. What is the length of the pencil if the initial reading is 2 cm and the final reading is 17 cm? Well reasoned. 15 cm is the correct choice.
a unit which is acceptable to majority of people as a basic unit of measurement is called dash.
On track. Standard unit is the correct answer.
Which of the following types of motion you will not see in a football rolling on the ground?
Strong choice. Periodic is the right answer.
The smallest time interval that can be measured with commonly available clocks and watches is.
Well picked. Second is the correct answer.
The choice of device used for the measurement depends on the type of measurement to be made.
Smart pick. True is the correct choice.
The distance between Anushka's home and Devika's home is 1425 m. This distance is equal to.
Well done. 142.5 kLZ is the right choice.
What do you call the error in reading measurement due to the wrong positioning of the eye?
Clear logic. Your choice parallax error is sound and 100% true.
The people of the dash civilization must have used very good measurements of length.
Correct. Indus Valley is the right answer.
In which type of motion the object changes its position with time along a straight line?
Nicely done. Rectilinear motion is a solid answer.
The invention of which of the following has made a great change in modes of transport?
Good thinking. Wheel is the right answer.
In dash, the French created a standard unit of measurement called the metric system.
Smart move. 1790 is an accurate answer.
Which is considered as the biggest discovery in the history of transportation system?
You're right. Wheel is the correct answer.
A. Marching, walking in a queue, cars moving on a road are examples of which motion?
Solid response. Rectilinear motion is a valid choice.
Name the motion in which the objects remain at the same distance from a fixed point.
Well reasoned. Circular motion is the correct choice.
If an object takes 10 seconds to cover a distance of 100 meters, what is its speed?
Bravo 1 misses the answer.
A runner completes a 400 neb lap in 50 seconds. What was the runner's average speed?
Great John says is the accurate answer.
If the position of an object does not change with time, it is said to be at rest.
Good job. Your answer true works well here. Which of the following modes of transport is not based on the invention of wheel? Is great thinking. Boat is the right choice.
Which unit is used to measure length in the International System of Units?
Excellent. Meter is a brilliant choice. What is the correct position of the eye when taking a measurement with a scale? Perfect. Position B is the correct choice. What is the distance between Radha's home and her school if it is 30 to 150 meters? Exactly. 3.5 km makes sense and it is right choice. Motion of vehicles on a straight road is rectilinear motion. You got it? Your choice true is right. If a train travels at a speed of 60 km for 2 hours, how far does it travel? Nice work. You chose 120 km and it is correct. Complete the statement. A length of a curved line can be measured using a dash. You chose thread and ruler. And it is correct. Which of the following types of motion is exhibited by the hands of a clock? Valid point. Circular motion is true.
The distance between the end of the outstretched arm and their chin is called.
Right choice. Yard is the best answer. State true or false. The result of a measurement is expressed in 2 parts. Sharp thinking. True is the right choice. If a cyclist travels a distance of 90 km in 3 hours, what is their speed? Correct response. 30 km is the most accurate answer. The distance between thumb and the little finger of the stretched palm is. Excellent choice. Handspan is the right answer. The motion in which all points of a moving body move uniformly is called. Right again. Translatory motion is a valid answer.
In a motion, an object repeats its motion after a fixed interval of time. Nice selection. Periodic motion is the correct and valid answer.
To and fro motion of an object about its position is called. Bravo! Oscillatory motion is the answer. The distance between Delhi and Mumbai is usually expressed in units of. Exactly. km makes sense and it is right choice. A motion that keeps on repeating itself after some time is called dash. Correct response. Periodic motion is the most accurate answer. If a car travels 150 kilometers in 3 hours, what is its average speed? Excellent choice. 50 km is the right answer. In 1790, the French created a standard unit of measurement called the well picked. Metric system is the correct answer. The position of the eye is not important while measuring with a scale. On track. False is the correct answer. What type of motion is the motion of the needle of a sewing machine? Valid point. Periodic motion is true. The invention of dash brought a big change in the transport history. Excellent. Wheel is a brilliant choice. Dash were used to pull vehicles mounted on wheels in earlier times. Solid response. Animals is a valid choice. State true or false. Motion of second hand of a clock is rectilinear. Right choice. False is the best answer. The unit you will use to measure the distance from Delhi to Patna is?
You got it? Your choice kilometer is right.
Striker in the game of caroms moves in dash. Good job. Your answer straight line works well here. When an object turns about a fixed axis, which type of motion is it? Clear logic. Your choice rotational is sound and 100% true. When an object moves along a straight line, it is said to be in dash. You chose rectilinear motion, and it is correct. The motion of Earth around the Sun is an example of periodic motion.
Strong choice. True is the right answer.
In which country first railway routes were laid and in which year? You're right. England 1850 is the correct answer.
Which of the following is a non-standard unit of measuring length?
Good thinking. Handspan is the right answer.
Which measuring device can be used to measure the girth of a tree?
Sharp thinking. Measuring tape is the right choice.
Give the unit for measuring the distance between Delhi and Jaipur.
Smart move. Kilometer is an accurate answer.
Name the type of motion in which a body moves along a curved path.
Right again. Circular or rotational motion is a valid answer.
In ancient times, dash were used for transport along water routes. Great job. Boots is the accurate answer.
A dash is a unit of length consisting of one normal walking step.
Correct.
Pace is the right answer.
Which type of motion is the motion of a child going down a slide?
Great thinking. Translatory is the right choice.
The comparison of unknown quantity with known quantity is called.
Nice work. You chose measurement, and it is correct.
Dash is the distance from elbow to the tip of the middle finger.
Smart pick. Cubit is the correct choice.
Dash is the combination of circular motion and periodic motion.
Well done. Clock is the right choice.
Invention of dash made a great change in the modes of transport.
Well reasoned. Wheels is the correct choice.
Bullock cart moving on a straight road is which type of motion?
Perfect. Rectilinear motion is the correct choice.
Powerful shot by a batsman makes the ball move in dash a motion.
Nicely done. Rectilinear is a solid answer.
What kind of motion is executed by a pendulum of a wall clock?
Nice selection. Oscillatory motion is the correct and valid answer.
Which of the following does not involve combination of motion?
Right choice. Pendulum is the best answer.
The movement of a drill is an example of dash and a dasher motion.
You're right. Rotational and linear is the correct answer.
Invention of dash revolutionized the field of transportation.
Nicely done. Wheel is a solid answer.
For measuring large distances, meter is not a convenient unit.
Valid point.
True is true. The distance between Delhi and Kanpur is usually expressed in.
Strong choice. Kilometer is the right answer.
What is the best tool to measure the length of a curved line? Bravo! A thread is the answer. What type of motion is the movement of a snail on the ground? Correct. Rectilinear motion is the right answer. The distance between Gotan and Jodhpur will be expressed in. Great thinking. Kilometer is the right choice. What type of motion is the motion of the wheel of a bicycle? Sharp thinking. Circular motion is the right choice. Which of the following is an ancient method for measurement? Nice selection. Cubit is the correct and valid answer. A motion of soldiers on a straight path in march past is a. You got it? Your choice rectilinear motion is right. Distance between Muscat and Salalah can be measured in dash. Well reasoned. Kilometers is the correct choice. Which device is best suited to measure the girth of a tree? Smart pick. Measuring tape is the correct choice. Quantities which are measurable are called dash quantities. On track. Physical is the correct answer.
The distance of an object from one end to another is called.
Well picked. Length is the correct answer. The movement of a housefly can be considered as dash a motion. Smart move. Random is an accurate answer. A change in position of an object with time is called dash. Good thinking. Motion is the right answer. Some kind of change in the position of an object is called. Right again. Motion is a valid answer. The height of a boy is 150 cm. His height in meter will be. You chose all of these, and it is correct. Motion of the Earth around the Sun is which type of motion? Good job. Your answer, periodic motion, works well here. The height of a person is 1.65. Express the height in cm. Nice work. You chose 165 cm and it is correct. Name the unit which measures the thickness of a book page. Excellent choice. M is the right answer.
Which of the following was the earliest mode of transport?
Clear logic. Your choice boats is sound and 100% true. Which kind of motion is this? Stone falling from a building? Exactly. Rectilinear motion makes sense and it is right choice. What type of motion do the blades of an electric fan have? Perfect. Circular motion is the correct choice. A measurement is expressed in terms of a number and a dash. Solid response. Unit is a valid choice. Earlier people used to travel on dash or either using dash. Excellent. Foot animals is a brilliant choice.
A striker hitting a coin on a carom board is dash motion.
Great job. Linear is the accurate answer. Which one of the following is the smallest unit of length? Correct response. mm is the most accurate answer. Which of the following quantities are physical quantities? Well done. All of these is the right choice. Which motion is not there in the motion of sewing machine? Right again. Random motion is a valid answer. Which unit of length is used to measure a large distance? Oh! Great job. Kilometer is the accurate answer.
A motion when an object as a whole moves about an axis is.
Strong choice. Rotational motion is the right answer. One part is a number and the other part is the Bravo. Unit of measurement is the answer. State true or false. We can use a scale to measure curves. Right choice. False is the best answer.
A motion is a kind of a change in position of an object.
Exactly. True makes sense and it is right choice. The height of a boy is 1500 millimeters. Find the height in meter. Excellent choice. 1.5 is the right answer. The movement of a drill is an example of which motions? Well done. Rotational and linear is the right choice. The height of a man is 1.36 m. This height is equal to. The 1560 mm is true. Name the device used to measure the size of your wrist. Well reasoned. Measuring tape is the correct choice. What does the slope of a distance time graph represent? Perfect. Velocity is the correct choice.
The distance between the elbow to the fingertips dash.
Correct response. Cubit is the most accurate answer.
Motion of blade of an electric fan is circular motion.
You're right. True is the correct answer. To measure the length of a curved line, you will use. You got it. Your choice thread is right. Express 1.65 meters into centimeters and millimeters. Nice selection. 165 cm, 1650 nullev is the correct and valid answer.
Angle means dash. It is used for measurement in India.
Solid response. Fist is a valid choice.
Handspan cannot be used to measure length accurately.
Smart move. True is an accurate answer. Height of a person is 1.65 meter. His height in Mummin is. Great thinking. 1,650 is the right choice. What invention significantly improved transportation? Good job. Your answer, the wheel works well here.
While horse is pulling a cart, is it in motion or rest?
Nicely done. Motion is a solid answer. The motion of the arms of soldiers in a march past is. Excellent. Periodic is a brilliant choice. The length covered in one step by a person is called. Correct. Pace is the right answer. Which measurement unit is smaller than a centimeter? On track, millimeter is the correct answer. What was used in ancient times to measure something? Clear logic. Your choice arbitrary units is sound and 100% true. Select the option given below, which is equal to 4 pnm. Smart pick. 4000 m's is the correct choice.
What two measurements are needed to calculate speed?
Well picked. Time and distance is the correct answer.
The circumference of a tree can be measured using a.
Sharp thinking. Both A and B is the right choice.
March past of soldiers in a parade is an example of.
You chose rectilinear motion, and it is correct.
A length of a curved line can be measured using a.
Nice work. You chose thread and ruler, and it is correct.
Swinging of our arms or legs are periodic motions.
Good thinking.
False is the right answer. Different types of motion occur at the same time. Solid response. True is a valid choice.
Which of the following is not a unit of distance?
Good job. Your answer, kilogram, works well here. What type of motion do the hands of a clock show? On track. Rotational and periodic is the correct answer. Each measurement consists of a number and a unit. Nice work. You chose true and it is correct. System of units now used is known as dash system. Great job. If the system is the accurate answer, our senses are reliable for accurate measurement. Bravo, false is the answer. A ruler can be used for measuring a curved line. Well reasoned. False is the correct choice. A tree is at a fixed place, so we say it is dash. Excellent. Stationary is a brilliant choice. Motion of a butterfly from flower to flower is correct response. Random motion is the most accurate answer. Which of the following is the psi unit of energy? Clear logic. Your choice, Joule, is sound and 100% true. 1 centimeter is divided into dash equal parts. Right choice. 10 is the best answer. The distance between the stars is measured in. You chose light years, and it is correct. What type of motion does a rolling ball have? Smart pick. Both rotational and rectilinear is the correct choice. The to and fro of a simple pendulum is called great thinking. Oscillatory motion is the right choice. Which is an example of a magnetic substance? Sharp thinking. All of these is the right choice. What type of motion does a pendulum exhibit? Valid point. Periodic motion is true. Where on a magnet is the force the strongest? Correct. Poles is the right answer. The standard unit of measurement is known as. Nicely done. International System of Unit is a solid answer. The movement of a door latch is dash motion. Perfect. Rectilinear is the correct choice. Girth of a tree can be measured by using a. Nice selection. Measuring tape is the correct and valid answer. Motion is the change in dash of an object. Excellent choice. Position is the right answer. Motion of a branch of tree is dash motion. Well done. Periodic is the right choice.
The movement of a snail on the ground is a.
You got it. Your choice rectilinear motion is right. What do we use to measure curved lengths? Exactly. Thread makes sense and it is right choice.
How many centimeters are there in a meter?
Well picked. 100 is the correct answer. 1 hectare corresponds to dash square meter. Right again. 10 is a valid answer. What is the unit of measurement if length? . Strong choice. Meter is the right answer. Moving ceiling fan is an example of dash. Smart move. Circular motion is an accurate answer. What is the SI unit of measuring length? Good thinking. Meter is the right answer. Which is a standard unit of measurement? You're right. Inch is the correct answer. Quantity that can be measured is called. Well picked. Physical quantity is the correct answer. A freely suspended bar magnet rests in. Exactly. North-south direction makes sense, and it is right choice. Discovery of dash made transport easy. Nice work. You chose wheel, and it is correct. What is the unit of length in C-unit? You chose meter, and it is correct. The most common time measuring devices? You're right. Clocks is the correct answer. The two ends of a magnet are called as. Correct response. North and South Pole is the most accurate answer. Periodic motion can be used to measure. Strong choice. Time is the right answer. Motion of soldiers doing a march past. Smart move. Rectilinear motion is an accurate answer. 1 meter is equal to dash millimeter. Good thinking. 1000 is the right answer. If 1 keb is equal to 1000 mem, then 5 keb is equal to dash vem. Valid point. 5000 meb is true. What is the word mile derived from? Great thinking. 1000 passes is the right choice. The pendulum of a clock is undergoing. Excellent. Periodic motion is a brilliant choice. How many seconds are there in one day? Well done. 86/400 seconds is the right choice.
What is the motion of mosquito wings?
Right choice. Periodic motion is the best answer. Motion of Earth around the Sun shows. Correct. All of these is the right answer.
There are how many poles in a magnet?
Good job. Your answer too works well here.
Which object would a magnet attract?
Smart pick. A metal paper clip is the correct choice.
Motion of strings of a guitar shows?
Solid response. Oscillatory motion is a valid choice. The larger unit of length is called. Nicely done. Kilometer is a solid answer. How can we measure circular objects?
On track. Using ruler and thread is the correct answer.
Typing of keyboard is an example of.
Sharp thinking. Non-periodic is the right choice. Heartbeat is a type of dash motion. Great job. Periodic is the accurate answer. 1/1000th of a second is called. Right again. Nanosecond is a valid answer. Is accurate measurement important? Excellent choice. Yes is the right answer. Rotational motion is also known as. Perfect. Periodic motion is the correct choice. Magnet loses its magnetic power on. You got it? Your choice, all of these is right. Convert from meters to CF 0.9 meters. Well reasoned. 900 cm is the correct choice. What does the unit pound measure?
Bravo! Force is the answer.
What is a SI unit of measurement?
Nice selection. Step is the correct and valid answer.
1 meter is called dash centimeter.
Clear logic. Your choice 100 is sound and 100% true.
Every measurement consists of dash.
Well picked. Unit and number both is the correct answer.
Motion produced by sound waves is.
Nice selection. Periodic is the correct and valid answer.
Wheels of a car is an example of.
Well reasoned. Circular motion is the correct choice.
The motion of a pendulum is dash.
Correct. Periodic is the right answer. What is the SI unit of length?
Right again. Meter is a valid answer.
Dash is the SI unit of current.
Exactly. Ampere makes sense and it is right choice.
Motion of wheel of a bicycle is.
Great job. Circular motion is the accurate answer.
The SI unit of length is a dash.
On track. Meter is the correct answer.
What is used to measure height?
Excellent. Inch tape is a brilliant choice.
Motion of a fan in on position. You're right. Circular motion is the correct answer.
1 for equal. Right choice. 10 is the best answer.
A tailor uses a dash to measure.
You chose tape, and it is correct.
Motion of pendulum of a clock. Excellent choice. Periodic motion is the right answer.
An example of periodic motion.
Well done. Clock is the right choice.
Meter is dash unit of length.
Correct response. Standard is the most accurate answer.
The SI unit of temperature is.
Nicely done. Kelvin is a solid answer.
The SI unit of mass in meter.
Good thinking. False is the right answer.
Apple falling from a tree is.
Smart move. Linear motion is an accurate answer.
North and South pole repulse.
Good job. Your answer false works well here.
Non-magnetic substances are.
Great thinking. Wood and plastic is the right choice.
The SI unit of mass is dash.
Perfect. Kilogram is the correct choice.
Choose the correct spelling.
Sharp thinking. Rectilinear is the right choice.
10 mamas contains how many cm?
Clear logic. Your choice 1 is sound and 100% true.
Fill the blank 1 mean equal to dash cm.
Nice work. You chose 100 and it is correct.
A measurement consists of.
Smart pick. Number and unit is the correct choice.
Equal to.
Solid response. 5,000 is a valid choice.
4 kilometers are equal to.
Bravo. Ford Huddersfield meter is the answer.
A kilometer equal to dash meters.
Strong choice. 1,000 is the right answer.
1 meter equal to dash centimeter.
You got it. Your choice 100 is right.
What do magnets stick to? Valid point. Iron is true.
Submultiple of length is. Well reasoned. Centimeter is the correct choice. Meter is a unit of dash.
Right choice. Distance is the best answer.
Choose the odd one out.
Clear logic. Your choice pace is sound and 100% true.
The SI unit of capacity. You got it? Your choice liter is right.
Centimeter equal to dash meter. Excellent. 50 is a brilliant choice.
222 10 steam equal to dash km. Great job. 2.216 kilometers is the accurate answer. Branches of a tree show.
Well done. Periodic motion is the right choice.
What does a tailor use? Correct. Tape is the right answer. Measurement requires.
Valid point. Unit number is true.
Choose the correct one.
Nice work. You chose Chem and Chem and it is correct.
Convert 72 QFs equal to dash m.
Smart move. 72,000 mem is an accurate answer.
Basic unit of length. Good thinking. Meter is the right answer. Express 2 team in cm.
225 cm is the answer.
CG stands for dash.
You chose centimeter, gram, second, and it is correct.
SI unit of mass is.
Nicely done. Kilogram is a solid answer.
Covered 34 to mum. You're right. 349 embers is the correct answer. 15 cm are equal to. Great thinking. 150 milliliters is the right choice. Which is longer?
Perfect is the correct choice.
4 canavs is equal to.
Well picked. 4,000 meter is the correct answer.
11 sem equal to dash. Correct response. 110 manors is the most accurate answer. Magnetic poles. Sharp thinking. Always exist in pairs is the right choice.
55 quadrat equal to dash m.
Excellent choice. 55,000 is the right answer. 1m is dash. Smart pick. 10 is the correct choice. What is Dissy? Solid response. Fuck 10 is a valid choice. 1e equal dash cm. On track. 100 is the correct answer. What is C? Good job. Your answer International System of Units works well here. As cm. Right again, point cent cm is a valid answer. 50 cv equal to. Strong choice. 150 melev is the right answer. As. Exactly. 2, 3, 5, 4 collis makes sense and it is right choice. 1 equal to. Nice selection. 100 cm is the correct and valid answer. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format?
Bravo. Contact Narayan Changder on Facebook is the answer.